Hi there.
Hi there.
How's it going?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm just feeding the little man. He wasn't interested when I gave it to him a half an hour ago. Now he's all about it.
Good.
Yeah. You're the youngest member of the UB team. Hi there.
Gosh.
So nice to see you. Hold on. He's gonna scream bloody murder, but I'll show you. Hold on, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Hi. This is our friend. Do you want to say hi?
So cute.
First of all, I'd like to announce that my father hasn't seen him awake yet, so you guys are seeing him awake before my dad.
Oh my. Oh, hi.
When did you have him, Kelly?
Look at that.
Oh my God, you guys, I ended up having an emergency C-section after they
Ooh.
induced me and nothing was happening.
Oh.
So he's a month and a week. So
Oh.
October 25th.
And what's his name?
His name is John Chester. We're calling him Jack.
Nice.
But yeah, so they induced me, nothing was happening. They left me on the Pitocin, so I was contracting away. Thank goodness the Alabama football game was on to keep me distracted. But nothing happened. And so they ended up doing an emergency C-section that night. So I was in labor for like 26 hours.
Wow.
It was a lot, but
Sorry,
he's here.
sorry,
He's
Greg.
healthy.
We're not so happy to see you. Sorry, Greg. Hey, Greg. Hey. Oh, hi, Greg. Greg didn't get that excitement, huh, Greg?
I mean,
I
child.
I did, because yeah.
You got to show up with a baby.
So right, you got to show with a baby. Give me a
I
baby.
miss you guys. This is so
You getting any sleep?
He's pretty good. I can't complain. Like he tends to get totally ravenous at night. So I keep calling it the knockout punch, but like I feed him a lot right before bed and then he really sleeps for like a good 3-4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't complain. And then he's up for a couple hours in the middle of the night and then he goes back to bed. But he's really good. He's got a good disposition. He's usually very happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's really sweet. He's really sweet. It's just, this is such a weird time. So like, this is kind of how my relatives are meeting him is through
Right.
Zoom, or like we have like a big window off of our deck. Like we can't see any of our brother and sister-in-laws because they have kids that go to school. We're not allowed to be around school-age kids. So like they come to the window to meet the baby. It's really like my 88-year-old great aunt was like literally sitting outside in the freezing cold, like just trying to look at him like through the window. So it's so sad.
It's still very cool.
It's pretty, I mean, it's also very nice because nobody, even like just being in a bad flu season, like nobody can come over but our parents.
Yeah.
But how are you guys doing? What's going on?
Hey, Leslie.
Are you feeling?
Hi, how are you? Nothing as exciting as having a new baby. I can't compete with that.
I know, nothing exciting.
It
as
changes
that.
your whole life, right? Then it's like flash, like now you're in stage 2. So welcome.
Yeah,
to
we're
stage
like, I feel like the first month, I mean, it's very isolating because like I'm pretty much by myself. Like my husband's an entrepreneur, so it's not like he gets paternity leave.
Right.
So he went back to work like the day we got home from the hospital.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of by myself. So thank goodness for the dogs.
Yeah.
And I was very much looking forward to this call.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And it's kind of like, I remember having this debate. I'm like, is consecutive sleep is different than like, peace. That's what you learn when you have a baby. You're like, you ever thought about it in your whole life? Then you realize that consecutive sleep is a big deal as opposed to like
it is a big
2,
deal.
2 and 2. It's not the same as like 4 and 2. I was like,
It is because I gotta say, like, I feel like he's sleeping really well. Like everyone's like, oh, you're so lucky. Like I have a friend who had a baby like a week after me. Kid isn't sleeping at all. Like honestly, that being up for like 2 hours in the middle of the night just like really throws me off. Like
Yeah,
I'm a little out of it.
Yeah.
That's some really spacey days. I'm like, woo.
better. You just cross them off like week 1, cross, week 2, cross, and you got to
You're
get to like
kinda
week
just getting-
12, and then you're kind of like, okay. Rest.
Yeah, you're kind of just getting through it. I had a neighbor tell me that when she would see the sunrise, she'd be like, I did it. I made it through the night. And I'm like, that's so true.
It is.
Oh man. Leslie, are your kids still in school? Like what's going on?
Our school did like a hybrid, and so
Okay.
I opted out of the hybrid just to see how they got to the fall point. And now the fall, like in the last month, I get the texts, the cryptic emails, like someone in our
Yeah.
community has it. You don't know who it is. They won't tell you who it is. And then they're coming now every week. So, you don't know how bad it's going to get, but they're doing all remote. So it's like and then my kids from college, they're going to have the long, semester. There's no Ivy League basketball. So they're all home, everyone's remote.
Oh man.
Remote college, remote high school, it's all remote.
Remote college just seems like such a waste.
Yeah, I mean, I think like BC said, you could come home for Thanksgiving and go back, but only if you stayed in Massachusetts. If you left the state, you're not coming back. So it's either leave and stay until like January, or don't leave and you can stay.
Gotcha.
That's just incredible.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, this is where we are. We have to, deal with this stuff. It's a really tough time, and people are handling it all different ways, and that's something we have to really take it. I hate to say it, but take advantage of. This is an opportunity I see, because people are dying for sports, and they made a big deal. There was McKinsey or someone said like it's a horrible time because what's happening is that kids are losing interest in sports.
Yeah.
They're not losing interest in sports. It's the practicality is that you can't play squat, you can't play soccer, you can't go out and play with your friends, and either the parents are all wigged out about it or you're all wigged out about it, and they're calling the kids of this generation, the impressionable ones, they're COVID kids.
Oh God.
And this is really, really a tough time.
Dania, how's your are you doing your basketball camp?
Yes, the training business.
Yeah, are people coming?
It's actually going very well, and I think
Nice.
because there isn't any organized sports or team sports, everyone wants to stay sharp.
Gotcha. They're training.
Parents want to make sure their kids are still training or still, keeping up with their craft. So we have a lot of clients. I mean, it's booming.
That's awesome.
We do have clinics where we'll go like maybe 10 to 12 kids at a time, but for the majority, it's maybe 3 to 5, one-on-one sessions, really small groups, So, but it's going well, and I think it's because no one knows the future of high school sports.
Yeah.
And some colleges, we have actually 2 Ivy League players that opted out of their season in our home, and they're training full time with us. One from Penn, the other one goes to Yale.
Huh.
So I mean, it's a substitute for not having a basketball season or not knowing if you're going to have a basketball.
It's interesting for us to maybe take note of that, Greg, that's what people are doing.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially the college kids. I mean, the seniors, because they really need their senior years for all their stats, going forward. Yeah. They have to be recruited. And how can you get recruited? And when you're, sitting in lockdown, it's impossible. So, I've heard a lot of high school kids in particular are saying, okay, well, I'll sort of chill for a while. And the college kids too. They're saying, well, I'm not in a rush. I don't want to use up a whole season. But I understand a lot of the colleges have given them another season.
I was on a Zoom with the president of the NCAA like a little bit ago, and they were talking about eligibility and all of that stuff. And then from what I'm hearing from high school kids, especially in like the New England prep school scene, is like everyone's just doing a PG year.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which isn't the worst, especially for boys.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the PG year, potentially too.
Yeah.
Get that extra year of maturity.
Yeah, you'll see. Then you have a daughter and you're like, oh, that's different. He acts at this age, but his biological age.
Yeah, 2 year. Well, that's my mother. My mother goes
like dog years.
2 weeks into it, he was borderline crawling, and my mom's like, "Well, he's very physically advanced. We'll have to see about mentally." And I was like, "What?"
Well, it's sort of a given that guys mature slower than women, so that's just the way it is.
Yeah, PG year for sure.
Yeah.
You're already signing me up.
So Dane, do you have both your sons out there?
Yes. Martin is in his junior year at Pace, and he's injured. He tore his ACL, so he's not practicing or working out with the team. So they sent him home early for Thanksgiving. So he flew out to LA to be here with Terrence, and I flew here to meet both of them for the holidays. So they're both here.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah. First time in a long time I've had both boys together at the same time for an extended amount of time. It's usually a day or two, maybe on Thanksgiving or maybe Christmas Day, and that's it. That's the way it's been for the last 5-6 years. But Yeah, it's been about, I've been here for about a week. I got another week before I get kicked out. And then I'll head back to Pittsburgh.
Cool. It's excellent.
Nice.
So we were still waiting for John. I think we have a couple other guys. It's good to see Al there.
Hi,
And
Al.
Jim.
Hey, Al. Did you see the new addition to the team?
Got a new, hold on, the latest member of the UB Sports clan. He's sleeping.
Oh, okay.
He's mad at me. Hi, Bubs. I know. We're on a Zoom. We're working.
Definitely. So it's good to see you guys. Jim, what's up with you?
Doing well, thanks. Hanging in there. You know, I can't complain. We've got, let's see, I'm in Connecticut, so we're, Lamont's got us in full shutdown, private clubs, private practices, can do no more than 4 people in the private sector. So I've been, you know, you can imagine all the clubs are running around trying to figure out what to do and how to do it and how to make money doing it. So that's been interesting. My oldest is a sophomore playing soccer at Cornell, so she's back. And then I've got a junior that's, you know, going through the recruiting phase of it all and in the lacrosse world. And so she's, you know, dealing with that in COVID, which is interesting.
Oh, you muted yourself there.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
So it's interesting. I'll tell you, it's not a dull moment.
Where in Connecticut are you?
In New Canaan?
Oh, yeah, I'm right near you. I'm in Walkabuck.
All right, yeah. So we're, you know, so everyone's running around, you know, all the soccer clubs, CFC, Yankee, however you want to look at it, all trying to figure out, you know, how to do small side for 4 people, how many they can get, how many 4 people groups can they get on a field at one time to continue practicing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. The lacrosse group, you know, lacrosse crew have taken to people's backyards now and doing 10 to 15 people. Not necessarily following the guidelines, but they're in a backyard, so they're private. So it's you know, it really is. It's gotten crazy. There's no doubt about that. And that's just, you know, I guess the way we're, you know, people are being creative and imaginative. I don't necessarily agree with it all, but it is what it is, you know. You know, on the Ivy League circuit, as you mentioned, you know, the winter season obviously is gone, the fall season's gone, you know, so Ivy Leaguers have got to figure out their eligibility, and the Ivy League is not a fun league to figure that out in. There's not a lot of loopholes that they can do. And the spring is, you know, we're hearing mixed messages on the spring. They might do regional spring season, meaning not an Ivy League spring season, but kind of regional, where schools would play. Upstate New York would stay in upstate New York and play. So you'd have Cuse, Syracuse, Cornell, Hobart, University of Albany, you know, maybe a Penn State might be in that grouping. You'd have the Baltimore grouping. So we've heard that out of the NCAA. That'll be interesting. So it's a lot. It's a lot for these kids to take in, no doubt about that. You know, and the coaches don't know. You know, they're all kind of floundering. They're trying to figure it out as best they can. So it's certainly interesting to see what, you know, what's going to transpire. You know, what's going to happen to you know, not just the college kids. I think the kids looking to get into school, you know, with the backlog. You know, you hear University of Denver lacrosse teams carrying 66 kids. You know, 66 kids coming back. You know, he's going to carry that for a couple of years. So you know, you don't know what he's going to do there. And that's Tierney. You know, one of the top coaches in the country. So you don't know what he's going to do. And then on the back end, the Princeton women's lacrosse team has 19 kids staying home. So they right now have 13 on their roster. They can't even play. They have 19 kids defer. So it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, I would like to think that we can find a way to be ahead of the curve and somehow take advantage of this as we come into the spring. We're going to be launching the new site around March, it looks like right now. And as we do, that's that's spring season. So with any luck, if we're good at what we're supposed to be doing, we'll start, really pounding it right after Christmas or after New Year's, and start working on the coaches for the spring season. And so that would be really cool. And Jim, by the way, Jim, some people don't know who you are and what you do. Some people just,
I'm sorry. I've been in and out. I've kind of been in the digital startup space for quite a while. Launched a youth app called Aspire and Persevere a couple years ago around private clubs and health and wellness. What we did is we took a look at the private clubs and said, hey, they're great for skills and drills. They're great for recruitment, but they're not really very good around health and wellness for the youth athlete. So we did that. Before that was at kind of Sport 2, another youth sports app that was kind of a Facebook for sports. That was 4 or 5 years ago. So kind of been in the space and just working in that sector, if you will. And then have 3 daughters, all playing, coaching, and involved in that aspect, of it. Right now, also working with the digital startup called Better, BETR, and they are pre-revenue, but the goal there is we're very focused on Gen Z and how Gen Z looks at the world and taking a look at this generation and trying to create a Gen Z influencer platform and utilizing uplifting and positive content. If you look at suicide rates, you look at obesity, you look at a lot of different issues Gen Z is facing. So we're trying to upstart that now. Obviously, COVID took a big hit on that, so we're slowly trying to figure it out. So that's kind of where what I've been up to past couple of years.
That's cool. That's excellent. So we're hoping that Jim is able to take that experience and knowledge and what he's doing right now, and especially as kids in college facing the situations firsthand. We need to really take that experience and bring in more partners for ourselves and more clubs and teams that are going to make sense for us and our platform and really help us hone the platform as we develop it, because we literally okay, so that brings us to the news. We just got our first 6-figure investment in the seed round, and the reason why we're meeting is because that's a really cool thing, and we need to be thinking about how we take advantage of it and how we move forward and how we get more investors. And we're not going to do it with the first 6 figures. It's going to be getting at least 2 million under our belts and moving from there. So obviously I'm working on that, but we also hired the developers. And I'm going to be sending out something to you guys called an SRS, which is basically a statement of what they're supposed to be doing, both for the site and for 4X. And that's going to be really intense work for them for the next 3 months. And John and I, and probably Bill and whoever else wants to be involved on a day-to-day basis, are going to be talking to the developers and make sure they're doing everything right. And they'll be sending us day by day, they'll be sending us information on what they're doing, what they're developing on that particular day. And we'll be able to go back and say, that looks good, that looks great. No, you got to change that. We got to put this wording in there. There has to be a pop-up to help people navigate, that kind of stuff. So as we develop, we also need to have a hands-on with that. Now, I started up a UB Sports development group for anybody who wants to be on it. You'll find it up on Slack. So you can join it. We just keep following that. The documents that come in are going to be put up there, as well as being sent out on a regular basis, probably in time for our Monday meetings. And right now, we're still sort of chill about going forward. We need to have a better handle of what the recruiters in particular and the coaches really need to know. And so first of all, and I'll finish with that, the SRS I'll send out to everybody. I want you all to read it, please, and mark it up and send me notes by email on what we have to add to it if you don't see something that's supposed to be there. If you see something on the site, and I'm asking you all, please, just to go to the site again, go to the parts that you know about, the sports you know about, check out what you see and how you think we can do it better. Because everything is right now, we have an opportunity here to revamp, to say, I don't like this, I do like this. Wouldn't it be really cool if we did this? And if we can do that as we come into the new site and the apps, that'll be really exciting. I think it'll help us all a lot. Now, as far as the apps go, there's going to be the UB Sports app, which is basically a clone of the new site that we're launching. And that'll have all the tools and capabilities we can stuff onto a small screen. So whatever we can get on this thing is going to come in pretty handy. Then we have another app that is for athletic trainers. Those are the ones who are trained and licensed by the National Athletic Trainers Association. There are about 85,000 of them in the United States. Every one of the high schools and colleges have at least one. And these people always have, they're sort of catch as catch can when it comes to figuring out how to get the kids and the athletes in the training room. So they're there for their ice baths, for their massages, for rehab. And they need help on that. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing, is building an app that'll help them do that on a regular basis. It's going to be $5 a month for them, so $60 a year. And that really is going to be, it'll be good revenue for us. But most importantly, in order for one of their athletes to get that scheduling and be able to RSVP to it, they're going to have to join UB Sports. So these athletic trainers are talking to 20 million athletes a year. So if we get 10% of those on board, that's going to be a nice number of athletes back on board coming through UB Sports to find out. And that's going to be on that app. The other app is for class trainers. And that's for like the local yoga studio or the meditation studio, TRX trainers, that kind of stuff. And we'll also be taking that, putting it together, putting a bunch of those together for like a rec center at a college. So a rec center might have 20 areas where they're scheduling on a regular basis. You know, it's going to be the, again, yoga studio, it'll be the bikes, it'll be, especially these days, because you can't have a crowd of kids in one room. You can only have a certain number of kids. So this way they'll be able to say, you know, I want to go to work out in the weight room. So there might be only 3 or 4 people allowed in at a time. So they have to schedule and reserve for that. And that's something that we're adding on to that app as well. So that's gonna be really cool for us to go to a Yale or a Duke or a Stony Brook or the local, you know, college or high school, and sell them that, because that's something that's very important right now, and very few of them really have that systematized yet. So unfortunately, it's not going to be out till March, but it's going to help them at the end of the season, the school year this year. And the last app we're building is our recruiting app. Now, we thought we were going to be doing that 6 months from now or 9 months from now, but they're starting to build it right now. So this is where we really have to be on the ball and work on the recruiting app right now, because that's not developed right now. And we have to take all the information, all the, you know, wouldn't it be nice if that Dania and Leslie and the rest of us were working on a month or so ago, get it down on paper or on emails, send it to us to make sure that we're putting it into that app. Because that's, you know, that's going to be our, not just, I'm not going to say bread and butter, but it certainly is going to separate us from the pack. So I'd like to see that, especially, you know, someone like Jim, who's gone through recruiting for 3 kids for the past, 5 years. That's a lot. That's, you know, he's seen everything that you could possibly do and all the wrong things you can do and all the right things you can do. We have to make sure that we're putting in disclaimers there, so the coaches have to sign that in order to make sure that they're being NCAA compliant or ECAC, whoever they're working through. And so that's also important. So that SRS that I'm going to send you as soon as I get off the call here is going to be really important for us to make sure that we have all that stuff down there. So that's going to be really important. Part of the SRS also will have the video player and the new video systems we're going to be doing. So obviously Bill and John and I are going to be working on that. That's going to be really critical for us. And I think, as we know, video is like the big thing right now. We have to make sure that we're, kicking butt on a great video player specifically for sports that can handle all different kinds of videos that come in, and make sure we categorize and have all the tag words on there the same way they do it at YouTube. So we got to work cut out for us over the next. That's really only the next week maybe that we have a chance to scribble on the SRS and make sure that everything's in. So if you guys can get that, spend a few hours on it the next few days, try to get that back to us by Thursday. So by Friday, we can get back to the development team and give them some input. So that would help a lot. That's like the most important thing. But what's really exciting right now is that we did get this funding in. We can start really thinking about how we go forward. We're going to be putting together a new logo, and try to get some T-shirts out to you guys as well, and hats, and start getting that stuff around. Start acting like a real company. So this is an exciting time to get our first big investment in the seed round. Really is helping us a lot in making like we're real. Mm-hmm. So 1, do the SRS work, please. 2, let's talk to people who we think might want to invest, and that would be great if we can also get some people who are big in sports involved in the investment side of things. If we can get some NBA players, MLB players, hockey players, whoever we can get right now as, coming in, because we just did get the first massive, it's a big investment. $100,000 is a long, this big amount of money. And this is a professional investor who just put the money in. So he knows what he's doing. And he sees the opportunity. One of his kids is a top 100 squash player in the world. And he's been dealing with his recruitment and his coaching and training over the past 20 years. So he knows also what's going on, and he really loves what we're doing. I want to see us really take this and run with it, take the investment as proof that somebody in the business and in the world sees it as really valuable. And, he's not a billionaire taking a 0.01% of his money and doing this. He's a guy who is putting a substantial percentage of his own money into this. So I'd like to see us all think about that and get those investors in front of me. Let's try to, get this moving till we get to at least $2 million. $2 million will get us really to the big time. We'll be able to take that and get to cash flow positive. Now, Kelly and I are working right now on the e-commerce side of things, because that's really something we can make a lot of money on right now without having a site up. And we should run with that right now really hard. I'd like to see us think about any companies that are manufacturers in the sports, and people that we know in those sports, any coaches who are sponsored, any athletes who are sponsored. Let's try to get in front of those manufacturers so we can get those products online. That would be really good, especially like the top players. They are sponsored by Nike or Adidas or Molten or somebody, and get them get their reviews of those products as well, because that also is very big. Reviews from a big player is very valuable. So as we build that part of the site, which is, by the way, in case you don't know, we do have an e-commerce site. It's called Total Equips. And it says there that Total Equips, the UB Sports store. And so we're selling that on its own. We're selling it through eBay right now. We're selling stuff. We'll put stuff up on Amazon by the end of the week. And we're working hard on building that, because that's revenue that we can get really simply just by putting up products. And we really should be doing that as well. So thank you all for sticking with us during the lean times. It's going to get to be a lot of fun in the next few months. And let's start off by going through the SRS and take it from there. Any questions, any ideas or thoughts?
Are you going to email that to us or put it up on Slack?
Both. It'll
Okay.
be on Slack and also be emailed to everybody. I already started the email, so you'll get it as soon as 5 minutes after we get off the phone.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's
I'm
where we
sure I
are.
will have comments.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys?
No, this is exciting.
Jim, you got something?
Oh, all good, all good.
All good here.
Okay,
Look
great.
When I get the SRS, I'll look at it.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And just, so you have a deadline of what, 1 week? You want us to get this to be done by the end of the week, is that right?
Yeah, by the end of this week, so it's only 4 days.
Yeah.
So, but it really shouldn't be that hard. We're just looking at what they say they're going to do in all parts of the site. And if you see that something isn't really spelled out, because the whole idea is everything has to be spelled out. Yeah, sure, it's nice to have it up on the site and say just clone the site, but we want to make sure that we have it down in writing too, so there can be no questions. But the most important part is how we make it better, how we make the site better. What's something that you've seen on the site that needs to be changed, and especially in the areas that you care about really much, really a lot. And let's do what we can. Let's
Yeah, I mean, I know we haven't had team meetings in a couple weeks, but obviously we were all kind of in mini teams beforehand. So make sure when you're reading this document that we're thinking about what those small groups were. Dania and Leslie, you guys were like really, really kicking butt with the whole recruiting app. So let's not lose some of that feedback. I think Dania and Leslie, if you guys especially had gotten some feedback from some of the college coaches on how this app might be helpful for them, try and almost anticipate that. And if you're seeing some holes in how they've defined this app, let's just make sure that we're really plugging them with some of the knowledge that we already have going into it, just so that they don't upcharge us 2 months from now to be like, oh, no, that's an add-on. Like, let's try and anticipate some of that recruiting stuff, because I feel like you guys had made such phenomenal progress. And I know we kind of had a little bit of a roadblock there, but at least we had started to have those conversations. So just keep that stuff in mind when you're taking a look at it.
Got it. Yep.
Okay.
I actually wanted to go there with Dania, and well, Leslie too. You got some feedback that was actually pushback that was coming from the compliance offices of the schools.
I did, yeah, a little bit, yeah. They didn't, I think they just felt uncomfortable. So I got that feedback a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't really get any feedback from, pushback from the coaches when it comes to their compliance. I mean, this was something that was pretty much just their opinion on what things they need, and they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to. What they can't do is endorse UB Sports. Like, they can't go out and say, everybody, subscribe to UB Sports. That they can't do. But if it's just what would make your, recruiting process easier? What do you think your student athletes need? Anything that gives their input, they're allowed to do. It's just endorsing any products is against NCAA.
Right.
Clients.
Okay. All right. So let's just try to consolidate that stuff. And Leslie and Dania, when you're going through this stuff, give it some thought. Okay, so how do we make this, the recruiting site really work well? And we had some really great ideas, Dania, when we were right at the end of this last push, where we started thinking about how we're going to have a real-time video of a kid answering questions. That's going to be so cool. That's going to be very, very valuable for everybody, for the kids, for the parents, for the coaches, of course, and the recruiters. If they can see a kid, what their demeanor is, how they handle themselves in questions, that's going to be really cool.
And I think taking that and piggybacking off and pivoting to some of the mental health stuff that we had started to touch on is something else we should anticipate. I think that was really, really good feedback that we had gotten from the Clippers, right, Dania?
Yeah, Laura.
That was a recruiting tool that they were using. So I think that, especially given the fact that I think a lot of coaches, again, the recruiting and the in-person visits are going to be limited. So they want to know that side of the kid. They don't just want the parents filling out and padding the stats. So let's think about that side of it too, of how coaches are interviewing these kids, how professional teams might be utilizing the mental health space as well. It's just such a hot topic right now. I feel like we'd be morons not to consider it.
For sure.
I agree.
Okay.
I have all the questionnaires, Leslie. So what I'll do is I'll share all of them with you, and maybe you and I can get together before you know, just before we present anything on the SRS, to kind of sift through the feedback and make sure we're adding all those components to what these, you know, to the SRS.
I mean, do you guys want to consolidate it? You want to make a spreadsheet, or how you just want to?
No. I think we just should read. We will read through it. You and I will read through them together. And if there's anything that's not included in the SRS that we think should be part of the program, and then I think we'll just add that.
Right, but I mean, in general, for all the feedback, do you want to, Greg? Do you want us to kind of put it like it's going to come individually? Do you want to make it a spreadsheet, like to make it, you know, organized for them, or how do you?
I don't think you guys need all that, right? You guys just do. What do you guys? Let's.
I've just worked on a website before, of a relaunch of a website, and we did it all on a spreadsheet. It was all like very specific, like line by line, because we were taking an old spreadsheet, an old website, and basically redoing and relaunching the website. So you had it, you know, kind of side by side, and we would go, you know, page by page, everything, and just compare. I mean, you know, I don't know if you want to do that, but.
I'd say you guys consolidate your notes on the recruiting stuff, and then however format Greg sends us the SRS, if it's based on lines or if it's however you want to send your feedback, I would say just do what makes the most sense to you.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it'd be smart to let's use Slack and start a channel for each one of those. Let's start putting that stuff together. That would make a lot of sense. You know, right now we do have the high school college group. We have all hands on deck. We actually have these groups already set up. So maybe you just want to start tagging inside these things, you know, for that kind of thing. We don't really have a recruiting group yet. We have
it was the high school college group was the recruiting group. But yeah, I think what Leslie's saying is based on the document you're sending us, how's the easiest way for us to send you back comments?
I would say right now, since we're doing this push right now, let's do that by, yeah, let's do it right there. Put it in the all hands on deck. Sorry?
Leslie, an Excel is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to put that someplace. Okay, let's do that. Do an Excel. Just you guys work out in Excel if you want to do that, and just take it from there. Thanks, Kelly, for your help there.
You know me, I like to keep things organized.
Okay, so let's do that. Anything else going on, you guys, that you see we should be thinking about with UB Sports?
I would just like to do some type of, and you and I are going to connect on this afterwards, but I'd love to do some type of holiday promotion, just given the fact that we're in Cyber Monday.
Yeah, we're in
we can do 12 days of Christmas, or we'll do something.
Yeah, we're in Black Monday mode for the next 15 days, 20 days. And
for me.
You know, it's Black December these days.
Maybe we can write a little script or something like that, like I make a little promo to like a teaser coming up UB Sports or something like that, you know?
That'd be awesome, Bill.
All right, so I'll try writing something together, and we can work some video and stuff like that, make it look interesting and add to it.
Love it. Sounds great.
All right, excellent. All right, so Bill, you want to contact me later on today or about that, and we'll see what we can do? All right.
Okay, later today is good. Right around 2 o'clock-ish, is that okay by you? Or?
Yeah, that's fine. Just give me a call. I'm around.
Okay.
All right. Guys, anything else on your minds?
No, I'm looking forward to taking a look at this document.
Okay, we're rolling. I'm sending that in about 5 minutes. I'll call you, Kelly, as soon as I get done.
Sounds good. Bye, guys. It was so nice to see everyone.
Nice seeing everybody.
Nice to meet you.
See you later.